right? How many of you think this is by magic? It's not by magic. It's people like you actually programs it. That's why it happens. So I'm gonna tell you first thing to make your understanding a little bit better. How does the chatbot actually works? And the framework or the architecture that I'm giving you, this is very high level. Doesn't have any technical details. But most of the chatbots that are out there today that are being used, whether you talk about Gemini, Google's model, whether you talk about ChatGPT, ChatGPT is not just one model, it's a bunch of models. And you can, if you are a paid version user, you can actually choose which one you're going to use. There is one by Grok, there are many. So there are hundreds of models out there today that are being used, but this overall architecture works for almost anyone. It's a universal generic architecture. So what happens when you are first, you as a user, trying to interact with the chatbot? You have a user, right? You are a user. And then but yeah, I don't know. I probably have removed it. But you can actually say, hey, ChatGPT, how are you doing today? And it will take your input, transcribe it as text, and then it will send it to application interface. That's that, whether your specific app that you're gonna build, whether that's ChatGPT's interface, whether there's Gemini's interface, whatever it is an application that you are interacting with, or it could be a dumb terminal too. You are doing it in a terminal just to figure it out what it is. Then it sends it to that large language model. Okay, this is where the GPT-4o or any of the Gemini's model is running, and then that actually sends does whatever processing this one is like huge database, right? This is where oh, I'm really sorry, your loved one passed away, and all this information comes from. It tries to understand what you are trying to ask, what context you are actually looking for, then give you the answer. Whether you're looking for Python code or you are looking for an answer to your tax question, right? And then it gives you the output. The output goes back to, that API or interface that you see now, your VO, did anyone try VO? The video, generator, right? It actually creates videos. That's what you're gonna see at the application interface and interact with it. You don't like the answer, you're gonna ask another question. You like the answer, you're gonna take it. So now, let me ask you, how many places do you think we can tweak things to make things better? Anyone? Or where can we tweak things to make
The user or the developer?
either?
Everyone.
Exactly. It's actually everyone. You can do it when you are doing the prompt. You can do it at your application interface. You can do it in your LLM. You can do it your output. This is where you use like RAG. You actually train, right? Last year, I think I did a tutorial with Bubble. Does anyone remember? The Bubble tutorial, actually, it was a wrapper in the application interface. I'm going to give you 4 days and say Jeddah, right? And I have a wrapper interface that says, I am a Muslim youth. I want to take a 4-day trip in Jeddah. Give me an itinerary. So that all you need to provide input was how many days and where you are going. You're going to Tokyo, you are 3 days going to be there. You are a Muslim youth. So it will give you information that is appropriate for a Muslim youth who is 17 to 16 to 18 years old. That comes in here. You can also change things in the output side. And also you can change things at the prompt side. So out of all 4 of these, which one is the easiest, do you think? The more left, the easier it is, because the more left, the more user-centric it is. So that's what we're gonna hear today for next half an hour. we are actually going to see how you can use better prompts to create better output using large language models or using AI. So does it help you guys to understand where you are? You know, you can do this. You can do this. You need more programmatic, knowledge. You need more programmatic knowledge here. You need a lot more programmatic knowledge here. So, but if you actually try to do it from the prompt, the good thing is you don't even have to get into the LLM itself. You don't have to make any change to a large language model. All the changes that you are doing is doing from the user end. So this is the reason why what I'm going to teach you for next 30 minutes is going to work for OpenAI, ChatGPT, is going to work for, Gemini, is going to work for Grok, is going to work for, name I should not say, DeepSeek, right? Because we have some restriction here in the US. So
I'm using it right now.
huh?
I'm using it right now.
Exactly. So, you can use it, but, be careful, right? It's collecting all of your personal information. And yeah, so,
They also do
you
that.
can use for personal use. But there are many other things. Whatever it is, you can actually use the same prompt techniques. But if you come to more on the right-hand side, then you need to get into their APIs and start working through them. So what I'm going to teach you today or show you today, you're going to be able to use that from any angle. All right. So everybody gets the point, like where I'm coming from, to make your life easier. That's why, I'm going to give you some tutorials. I'm not here to give you a lot of lectures and theories on all that. Everything I'm telling you, you'll be able to use it as soon as I finish this lecture. All right, you guys are excited? So first, let me tell you what is prompt engineering. It is actually an art, The better prompt you make, the better response you're going to get. It's proportional. All right. So, and one thing prompt engineering does really well. Have you ever heard about hallucination? So I think, hallucination is actually a medical condition, but I'm more familiar with hallucination after large language models and ChatGPT became more popular. I think we see a lot more machines hallucinating today than human, right? Because, we have a lot more AI running into machines. So what hallucination is when you try to ask something, and one thing most of these LLMs will do, they will never tell you that I don't know the answer. Maybe DeepSeek will tell you, I can give you some questions to ask this DeepSeek, and DeepSeek will tell that I cannot answer you those questions. Those questions are too sensitive for me. But most of the time, 99.99% of the time, ChatGPT or any other LLM will give you an answer. And many of those times, the answer might be not what you're looking for or not the right at all. Okay, so there are some safeguards put in, but if you are not careful with your prompts, you're going to get a lot of answers that you think looks good, sounds legit, but it's actually not. It's going to get you in a lot of trouble. Okay, so that's why we need prompt engineering. And as I say, I'm going to teach you some of these techniques like one shot, few shot, multi-shot, some of these prompt techniques with examples. And if you take, these are not mutually exclusive. That means if you're doing, let's say, take a deep breath prompting, you probably know what a take a deep breath prompting is probably by now, right? You tell the machine or ChatGPT to slow down and think through it. Because what does most of the LLMs have a tendency of doing it? Doesn't matter what question you ask. You ask, how can I win a Nobel Prize? It will give you an answer, right? But is that really an answer you're looking for, right? It doesn't ask you, okay, are you a physicist? Are you working on medicine? Or you're trying to win a Nobel Prize in, peace? It's all different areas, whole different, somebody have to spend their entire life to actually get that. But ChatGPT or any LLM will do it very quickly and just give you an answer. But you can say, okay, take a deep breath, slow down, think through it logically, and then give me an answer. And then there is something called, few shot prompting, where you give some examples. One shot prompting, you give one example. No shot or zero shot prompting, where you give no example. So you can actually rack and stack these techniques, and you can get really good prompting. So is anyone here planning to use Lovable AI? Or any other AI to build application? So these promptings are going to be really useful for you when you either use ChatGPT or Gemini to create your plan and then input into the Lovable, or even when you are working through Lovable, it will be helpful. And that's why I have this picture, this is the, reference from, it's an article from Medium that they refer this. Today in 2025, we have over 100 large language model, offerings, ChatGPT, these are not large language models. These are offerings. For example, ChatGPT has multiple language models underneath. So if you think about this, there are more than 100. They are currently, how big their markets are based on their market values. You can apply these techniques to pretty much any one of these, whether it's an image generation, large language model, whether it's a code generation, large language model, any one of them, you can introduce these techniques. So the first technique that I'm going to be doing is this one, and I will probably show you a few techniques, So this is called a zero-shot prompting. Why is this a zero-shot prompting? Because you are asking a question without any context. So I'm asking a question. Write a Python function that returns the factorial of a given number. Okay, so I'm not asking this a very generic question like, what is the weather today? If I ask a question, what is the weather today? Can somebody try it does anybody have any LLM open right now? So can you ask, what is the weather today? And see what answer you get. Don't say where you are.
Yeah.
It's figure out where I am.
Has location.
Yeah, it has your location.
Yeah, figure out
Exactly.
where I am, yeah.
I think
It's
ChatGPT
really-
probably also has your.
You can also you can also prevent it from tracking your location, but
Okay.
by default it does. So is it giving you the right, answer? Like weather
just-
for Gaithersburg?
It got correct.
It just got done thinking. It's giving me like how to check
Okay,
yeah. It's not giving me the weather. It's telling me how.
telling
can
you
I
how
find
to
the
check.
weather.
Okay, good.
Perfect,
And
got correct.
for you, it's giving you the weather right now.
Yeah,
Okay,
very,
good.
yeah.
So, okay, great. And anybody else got the weather right now? Okay, which model are you using? ChatGPT. Okay, and which one were you using? Where you got your answer?
ChatGPT.
ChatGPT, and you're using DeepSeek. So we had two models as an example, and I have one open. I'll try it right now. Let's see what it tells me. What's happening? So. So what was your prompt? What is the weather right now, right?
Another Muhammad.
No, we are here like first.
Look on the screen.
Okay, let's see what it gives me. So, okay, so my Gemini knows that I'm in Montgomery Village. Is this the right location? Or
Yes.
right?
That's the one.
So,
It's based on the IP address.
yeah,
IP
so
address is.
it is actually telling me that the weather, and which is accurate. So some LLMs will give you the right answer, or some LLMs will tell you, how to find it. But you just see an example of a prompt that is without any context, without any example. You're just asking a question, it will give you the answer based on, the best of the ability, right?
So DeepSeek does not track my location, right?
It probably tracks, yeah. But
But it's just by using it here, I guess.
if you ask what is the current weather in Montgomery Village, Maryland, then see what answer you get. No, I think Baltimore County is way north.
Yeah, I got both.
Because do you live in Baltimore County?
Or
Oh,
VPN.
I don't know. Yeah, could be different reason, but as long as it's giving you something, that means, it knows a location, and then based on the location, it's giving you that, right? It is connected to the internet. Okay, good.
ChatGPT?
So that's an example of a zero-shot prompting, a prompting without any example, without anything. You're just asking a question. If you ask a question like, write me this code to create a factorial in Python, it will give you the answer too. So that's how the zero-shot prompting. Short means an example. So zero-shot prompting means prompt without any example. The next one that I'm gonna tell you. It's called a few shot prompting, okay? Now you see the difference. So few shot prompting, you see that I have two examples. So I said, to Python, or whenever you see that I use this, hash example, that means I'm trying to separate the comments from the quotes. That's, and one good thing about most of these large language models, it will figure it out. It will know that, even if you say example one, and then you just show the Python code, it will figure out that example one is really your documentation, not really part of the code. But I have them for my own convention. I used all of these comments within the code as hash, and then code is just letters. So you see that I gave an example. Example one, the square means you return, you actually n times n, right? And cube means n times n times n. Now write a function that returns the factorial of a number. This is the function, def factorial n, and it will give you that. Do you want me to try that? Let me try this one. So I'm gonna just copy and paste. That's it. And as I am saying, you can actually just copy paste all of this. So I go into my large language model. Okay, so hold on a second. I think I have a little bit problem. I need to. All right, so I have this prompt, okay? And then I'm going to execute this prompt. All right. So can somebody point something out here about this code? Very easy. This code looks very similar to the original code, right? The style, the indenting, everything is very similar. That's why when you give example, and if you specifically say that this is an example to a large language model, it will try to follow that example as closely as it can. Maybe not in every single scenario, but as closely as it can. So what this is telling you is very similar to based on that example. All right, so that is the few shot prompting, few examples. I'm going to run through a couple of them very quickly. All right, so this is one called chain of thought prompting. Why is it called a chain of thought? Anybody has any idea? Yeah.
I don't know what this is, and you can't figure out what it is.
So this is actually not a prompt about writing code. It is a prompt about telling you, what does it mean step by step. Okay, so if you see my prompt here, what does this Python function do? Try this, and you can say, let's think step by step, explain it to a fifth grader. It will actually do that too. If you say, let's do, as I said, these are rack and a stack, right? You can actually add multiple prompts with it. You can also say that, let's think step by step and explain this to a undergrad. I found, from my personal experience, if you actually tell the ChatGPT, explain this to a freshman in college, they do a really good job. It's not very dumbed down, not very highly technical, just enough. Okay, so that's why it's very helpful. I think for most of you guys will be helpful. You can say, explain this to a first grader. It will actually do it. It will probably bring in like 2-color pencil, 3-color pencil, it's gonna become very difficult to understand what it's trying to tell you. But if you say high schooler or college freshman, college sophomore, things are not very technical, not very diluted, just on the right spot. All right? Anybody wants me to do that, or you get the idea? And then there is another prompt called tree of thought prompting or thought prompting. How am I doing on time? Is 45 here? Or how long do I have? 12:44. Take 5 more minutes? I started at 12:15, so. Is 45 here already? Okay, so we'll switch, okay.
Is there a
So
way
tree
to
of
connect
thought,
it to like a phone?
it's,
Is there a way to connect it to like a phone and some of a camera to use that camera, because this camera obviously can see it's like.
one of them,
blue.
okay.
Yeah.
Finish it. So tree of thought is another type of prompting where it's telling you where you are asking ChatGPT or LLM to actually branch out the answers. Like for example, here, write 3 different Python functions to reverse a
I use
string.
this,
For
maybe you
each,
can look at that.
use a different method.
Right?
Okay,
Variance
so
can be solved by.
if
taking
you are a programmer,
that
anybody
thought,
here
but
write a
for something
function
better,
that's reversing
then
a
we
tree?
can maybe-
I mean, I'm gonna have hard time just coming up with one.
Leave it like
right?
this.
I think I have, last time I did a reverse tree was when I was taking like a undergraduate computer science class. After that, I never had to actually write a tree because, before ChatGPT, there was a very cool website, it's still there called what? Anybody remember? Stack Overflow. So you can find all of these examples in the Stack Overflow. I mean, why do you want to write it for, 6 hours, right? Your time is precious, but if you give it this prompt, it's gonna give you like 3 different ways. I'm gonna do this just to show you. And it will actually, did I have say here Python? Yeah, I would have said Python. One thing about prompts is if you are, let's say you gave a prompt about Python, next time you don't give any prompt about any other coding language, what is it gonna do? It will continue in Python, right? If you wanna change it to C++ or C, you have to say that, let's change it to C. If you change it to a language that it doesn't understand, it will tell you, sorry, I cannot understand. So let's do this one. Oops.
Hold on. I have an idea. You put this laptop on top of the projector, can you put it on top of the projector?
I think it's just going to.
Oh, looks like I ran out of my, my programming, code.
I mean, this thing's
So let
facing.
me
this.
switch to ChatGPT.
I don't know if.
Can we?
You guys see what happened?
Can we put it on top of the
With
projector?
my
This one
Gemini?
here?
Yeah, well, that, even that'll,
I could try it. It's gonna fall off, I think.
I don't know, we can like,
As you see, I got like 3.
this would be good, I think.
So
Is it
okay, as
clear?
they're fixing the, oh,
Is that
what
look clear
happened?
to you?
It's not,
Let's see, does that look clear? Is the screen clear?
Someone.
No, not really, right? It's still not good. We might as well just use that, right? Should I bring it back to where it was before?
yeah, let's do what it was before.
Yeah.
So, when I was trying to do this example, something happened. When I tried Gemini said, you ran out of your, free quota. So it only gave me one coding problem with the free daily quota, and then tomorrow I have to do it. So I'm now using ChatGPT as my backup in Gemini, but then it's going to do one more. Yeah, okay. So you just saw that with ChatGPT, with the tree of thought, I asked it to reverse a tree. And it gave three different functions to do that. If I said five, give me 6, it will probably do it.
So,
If you say give me
Sorry.
100, be careful, because ChatGPT might start to hallucinate and give you answer that is not, right. All right.
I wanna ask you.
The next one is general knowledge prompting. This is very simple, ask the most plain and then apply it to a topic. Okay? When you are doing your project, if you come up with a concept that is very difficult, like for example, you probably have to write a function to, maybe collect names. Or, maybe you need to write an API to, send multiple variables. If you see that you are not being able to do it, give it a general knowledge prompt that first please explain me how it works and then show me an example. So this is one way you can ask it and it will do. Any questions, anyone? Helpful what I'm showing you or not helpful? Helpful? All right.
yes.
Then take a step. Is it mine? No. that's not mine. Your meeting will end in 10 minutes, so we're gonna finish that. So.
Laptop there.
Oh,
Laptop is
yes.
this?
Could you just, exit that out? All right. So take a deep breath. It is a kind of a reserved word for most of the LLMs. When you say take a deep breath, it will actually slow down it's not gonna really slow down the thinking process on the back end, but it will give you an impression that it's slowing down. It will actually do some more elaborative thinking. That's all it will do, right? The difference is gonna be probably in milliseconds or microseconds. You're not gonna realize. But when you give the prompt that says take a deep breath, because a lot of time, when I'm writing code using ChatGPT or any other LLM, we actually use some custom LLMs at work. But a lot of time I find that it's hallucinating, and then when I'm telling it that this is the problem I'm facing, it's hallucinating more. So rather than trying to fix the problem, I'm actually going into this vicious cycle, making LLM hallucinating more and more and more. So I'm not getting close to the right answer. I'm just going wrong and wrong and more wrong. In that case, when you say take a deep breath, it will actually reset itself. There is no other way to reset it other than saying it, because when you're saying take a deep breath, it will actually try to think carefully and give you more result. So one way you can actually cut out the hallucination is ask it to reason. When it tries to reason, then it will actually come out of the hallucination. Otherwise, you ask a question, it gives you a solution that has hallucinations. You ask another question, it gives you another solution that has hallucinations. So it's gonna just keep going on the rabbit hole and rabbit hole and rabbit hole. Right? Directional stimulus prompting. So this is where you set a role. Have anyone ever tried with a role in ChatGPT or any LLM? Try with a role and say, hey, I'm a hackathon participant and I really need to do this, and then see. Somebody actually gave a prompt that, you are the, US president, that's, a while ago. And your decision depends on whether the nuclear, weapon is going to be deployed or not. And be that serious. And it will actually be, it's not going to be that serious, but it will try to pretend like, it is thinking, and it will take the thinking level into more deeper. All right. So here you can see as a senior backend engineer, right? So this is not going to give you an answer like a college freshman. This is going to reset the tone as a senior backend engineer. For your case, I would not say senior backend engineer. I would say probably a hackathon participant, high schooler or college freshman, sophomore. So it will actually give you the prompt in your own. All right. Then chain of density. So C of D. This is where you actually ask it to give you increasingly dense content. Look at the prompt. Write a simple explanation of what linear regression is. Now define the explanation with more technical depth and terminology. Finally, add a Python code example. So linear regression, basically, you have a bunch of data and you try to predict from the data, right? If you don't know, if I'm asking you, hey, go and do a linear regression problem, well, you can ask ChatGPT for a prompt and it will give you a code, but how do you know the explanation? That's why the chain of density prompting actually comes in, where it tells you what it is, it gives you an example, then it actually does it. That's the COD, or chain of density. The more prompt you give, the more dense the content is. All right? And then reference prompting. Reference prompting is very easy, where it actually, you tell it, you give it some specific data, code, or context, and then it actually tells you what it is. So, for example, here, I actually gave a sklearn, scikit-learn model here for do a training and testing split, and then I asked a question. It will actually understand that and give you the answer. Yeah.
Can you use AI to create prompts as well?
Yeah.
So you can also say like, create this,
Yes.
which prompting method should I use?
So it's going to be dependent on your problem, but I would say, and that's a very good question. If you find at some point that I don't even know what prompt I want to give, you can even ask that to, AI. And one way you can cross-check is ask to a different AI and then apply that to a different. But it's always good to manually check your answers, manually check your prompts. When I was creating this deck, I actually came up with a couple of errors that it was giving me, and I had to adjust my prompts.
I see.
A good question. Any questions, anyone so far? So I just went over 9 prompting techniques very quickly. I'm gonna give these slides to Dr. Mustafiz and team, so you will be able to access, this after this course. But some key takeaways that, use it step by step. Don't just ask ChatGPT to give you like the right answer right away. You'll get the right answer, but sometimes the right answer gonna be above your head. And the second key takeaway is that think of this as a rack and stack. These are not mutually exclusive, these 9 techniques. There are more techniques. You can apply one technique, and then if it doesn't give you the right answer, you can apply a different technique. You can actually rack and stack them together. So think about these as Lego blocks that you can now build anything with that block. So be clear, specific, and structured. Iterate, test, and refine. Never believe, okay, anything that it tells you. Trust, but verify. Right? So Jazakallah khairan, everyone. I hope you learned something useful and you'll be able to use them. Thank you.
I have all enough. It says it doesn't anything in its time. They're just I feel like I have to just. It's funny. Think of like yeah, so everyone it's really easy to make I'm gonna say. There's not gonna rock out for you. There's like a room label for.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. You're tired, right? Waiting for the lunch. And I am the barrier. Okay. Okay. Again, we are hackers. Is that addressing okay? We are hackers, right? You're fine? Okay, cool. Okay, so I know the hackathon has started, so this will be a disruption, right? But that's what we'll be talking about, the emerging technology. Another name of the emerging technology is what? Anyone? Disruptive technology, right? So this disruption should be okay, right? Okay. And we sometimes hear about technology, their bottlenecks, their challenges, and sometimes our faith is also under attack, right? We hear some on that line. So today, next few minutes, I'll be talking about what's a symbiotic relationship between faith and emerging technology. By the way, anytime you have any question, please just raise hand, interrupt, okay, or disrupt. Again, the disruption is the key word today. So what I'll be going through, it may not be directly related to you, what you will be doing next 24 hours or 36 hours. But inshallah, that is, I will be talking about the mindset, the perspective. So the big picture kind of thing. So we are taking a break from the nitty-gritty details of the hackathon and then just giving a pause and looking at the big picture. So that's the intent, inshallah. Again, Rabbi Shrah li sadri yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Allahumma allimna ma yanfa'una wa Allahumma allimna what? Ilman nafiyan. Wa anfa'na bima 'allamtana. O Allah, teach us beneficial knowledge and let us be benefited from what you teach us. That is the key, right? So we'll be trying to answer these three questions. I think the first question, the answer you already know. We are enjoying that technology. Can you see? Am I very here? Okay. So the first question we already know. We are enjoying. We are using the technology, and this hackathon you will be doing the best you can. But the second question, are they in collision course with my ethics belief? Can there be a symbiotic relationship? Right. That is the main question we'll be addressing. And then what should be our mindset to get the best use of this symbiotic relationship? Again, just a big picture. Have you seen this picture before, or the industrial revolutions? You have, right? Which industrial revolution we are in now, or which one we are getting into? First, second, third, fourth, fifth. So which industrial revolution we are currently in?
1, 2, 3, 5.
We're in the.
So we are in between fourth and fifth, actually. So fourth has happened. But can you see it? It is not very, I don't know, is it lighting or something else?
We can dim the light.
Okay, so can you see this? I feel like you cannot see it well. Can you see? Oh, okay, then it's good. So yeah, we are in this IoT, big data, robotics, but then we are heading into the fifth industrial revolution, which is the human machine, right? And then sustainability and other things. But let's zoom in for last 50 years, which is for the digital revolution. And again, these are some of the sample emerging technology. There are different names, different manifestations. Don't be confused, these are the ones, right? So starting from 1975 to 2025, so we are in, we see the artificial intelligence, which I assume will be the tool for most of your projects, right? Am I right? The AI, ML. So yeah, it shows here 2010. 2010, that is also a little bit confusing. Who can tell when was the first time AI came as a concept? Yes.
It's like 2013-ish when like Siri started.
Okay, maybe 30, and then it was publicized by the famous Marvin Minsky at MIT, 1950. He wrote the paper, and then the expert systems of the car. But yeah, you're right. And then just like any technology, it just pops up and then goes dark, then pops up. So 2010 is the time when it's, oh, now I can flourish, right? And now we see the manifestation of that. And then the renewable energy, and the latest one is the quantum computing. That is really that will be a disruptive technology that is years to come. It is making a splash already, right? So again, the reason I am showing that is again the big picture. Maybe today it is AI ML, so you have to be ready for what quantum computing, what are the challenges it is bringing, right? So these are just some of my understanding. Yes. So and this is important because we have to know how to tackle. So radically novel and disruptive. So a lot of people are losing jobs, right? Microsoft last week, I think, announced they are cutting 10,000 jobs, and every company, Amazon said they are going to be cutting jobs, right? So it is really disruptive and significantly impactful, right? Fast changing, right? Things change, fashion changes, then we are at a loss, right? That, the last two are the ones that I will be actually, I would like you to think about. The emerging technology that we have now, therefore, is synergistic, decentralized. They are synergy from different disciplines, the arts, science, commerce, accounting, economics, all are actually merging, converging. That is the beautiful thing. Any other industrial technology, it was a specific thing, and that's what you have to leverage, right? The synergy and decentralization. So now you can make something from your basement, right? That is the part of the decentralized. But the last one, and I'll be talking more on that one, the uncertainty that it brings in, the challenges that it brings in. Give me some warning about time. I know, Joseph said, yes. And again, you can get it anywhere, but it is a reminder that there are challenges. Yes, from that corner, anyone can talk about a challenge of AI, one of the challenges? From that corner. Was that? Anyone? Again, what we are using AI, why I'm talking about the limitation or challenge, because that is the thing we would like to address, right? So there are technological challenges. We all know about the bias, right? That AI models have. And then because of the corporate pressure, because of the profit motive, things are just marketed even before they are tested well, right? So that is a challenge itself. And then, so there are economic challenges, social challenges, ethical and governance challenges, geopolitical challenges. One thing that bothers me today, if there is one thing that bothers me today about challenges which actually outshines nuclear threat, to my understanding is misinformation, disinformation. How many of you agree with me?
I think the science.
Misinformation, disinformation, right? So again, we know that problem is becoming worse with AI and ML. But at the same time, what we have to think about is how can I use AI and ML to counter the bad impact, negative impact of misinformation, disinformation, right? Again, I am just presenting some big picture for you to think about the challenges, because the corporate world, the profit industry, and the government, they just use that technology without any thought, without much thought, disregarding ethics, morality, social responsibility, negative impact like this, right? So we have to think, you have to think about that, right? So what are the ways? Again, I'm not giving you all the solutions, but that will be multifaceted, right? Everyone from the government to the private industry, the education, academia, researchers, technologists, everyone has to collaborate to come to address the challenges, right? But today, next few minutes, again, my focus is. Any question anyone have? Yeah, we will have a lot of time to do the hacking, inshallah. So just we are taking a break from the hack, and okay. But the question is, what can be done individually or as a community like ours? What can we do, right? Okay, the government is not doing this, the policymakers are not doing this, the technologists are not doing this, but what can I do and what can we do together? So that is where I think if there is one word or actually two words, maybe it is the mindset. We have to have the right mindset. And again, next few slides, I go into that one. And those of you who I know, very few actually, I use the word iPad. I have been using iPad. That is also obsolete technology now, right? I don't know. Is it? Or it is still there, right?
Yeah, still there, but it's not very common anymore.
It's not very common. Okay, so when it was emerging, I came up with this iPad about the mindset. I think whatever we do, I say to my kids and others, you have to have the iPad. I stands for intention, and we know what is the hadith for the intention. Sisters, what is the famous hadith about intention? Nia. Yeah, exactly, right? We really have to just have it embedded in our mind. And our nia should be to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whatever we do, whatever we do not do, that is the criteria. So it starts with our intention, right? And again, people will show, regardless of whether it is part of our faith or not, it is a good thing, right? You have to know where you are going, what is the intention, right? And the P is for plan. What is a famous saying about plan? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? So yeah, you have the intention to go there. You have the intention to address the misinformation, disinformation challenge to save yourself, your family, the greater humanity, right? That is the intention. But you have to have a plan, realistic plan, right? And then A is always action. Without action, nothing happens, right? The I and P is for the action. Okay. So who will guess what is D? I like to say, what is D? Again, it could be anything, but for the sake of time, so I think it is dua. I have the good intention, I have the plan, I am acting, it may or may not work. So if it does work, I make dua to give more barakah on that, right? If it does not work, alhamdulillah, I tried. Maybe Allah is wanting something else from me, right? But dua has to be the wrapper of all our effort. Dua has to be the wrapper, packager of all our efforts. So you are doing hackathon, you are in a competition, someone will be first, second, third, and someone will get some prize, everyone. But we know with all these things, with dua, with all your efforts, IPAD, you will be awarded, you will be rewarded, right? That is our conviction. So again, yeah, don't forget iPad. I'm talking about the mindset. What does this picture show? Technology mindset, just a little bit about mindset. What is this elephant thinking? Sisters, can you see that? What is that elephant? It is small. This.
Copy more.
Anyone? Yes.
It's thinking that it's trapped, but it's not trapped.
Exactly, right? It is tied to a chair. It is tied to an elephant. It is tied to a chair. And if it thinks that it is tied, it cannot do anything. Oh no, that is government, that is somebody else's, right? Then nothing will happen. He just has to make the intention, plan that I will go, and then act on it, right? So that is actually the powerful, that is the mindset, the positive mindset, that I will get things done. Yeah. Oh, no. When you start something, oh, this is, oh, the next year, oh, if I do this, then my friend will say this. I cannot change major, I cannot do it and that, right? So that does not happen. Again, just a refresher, you all know these things. I think this is the perspective we ought to have. And again, I think we all know that. You have been hearing this from many scholars, your teachers, your parents. But again, as a reminder, because reminder benefits the believers, right? So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in many places in Quran, ayat like this was sakhkhara lakum ma fis samawati wa ma fil ardi jami'an minhi inna fi dhalika laayatin li qaumin yatafakkarun, right? So all of these signs, SIGNS, that we apply SCIE signs to come up with some technology, right? These are all given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The resources are given to us, and we use the resources to apply science on science to make useful technology. So that is a gift given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that is a privilege. But at the same time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Imran, kuntum khairan ummat ukhrijat linnas, right? You are the best nation and you have been created for the benefit of mankind. So that is the responsibility part. So we have the privilege, we are given this gift, but with that responsibility. And again, I think you have heard this from many sheikhs that this is Allah's sunnah. Anytime when he sends some prophet, he gives the best of what is the state of the art, right? If it is poetry, then he gives a message that outshines all other poetry. If it is magic, then he sent his prophet with the best of magic, right? So if we apply that, if there are to be a prophet today, he would have excelled in, he or his followers would have excelled in what? All these emerging technology, right? AI, quantum computing, cloud computing, definitely, because these are gifts from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is his sunnah. So that is our mindset. I think nobody else have that mindset. This is powerful. This is very convincing, right? And we know Prophet Ibrahim's story also, when he asked, "Oh Allah, just show me how you make dead alive." Come on, don't you believe? No, I do believe, but I want to to give tranquility, peace, conviction to my cult, right? So that is also important, see? Because a lot of people just drop at the middle of the road. But if we know that these all are coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and if we know the science and technology behind that, it will enhance our belief. Right? So again, this we all know, this is just a reminder, we are in a better position, better situation to deal with technology, right? In a more convincing way. Okay, so these are the 3 questions I have for you. This is typically when emerging technology comes in, this is kind of the cycle, right? So in the beginning, there are innovators, like it says 2.5%, right? And then the early adopters. So 2.5% people, those who are directly related to the innovation, right? And then early adopters, then there might be some chasm, and then early majority, right? And great majority, and then they go, oh no, it has a lot of bad things, it is going to doom the humanity, so I am not going to use that, right? So the question is, which segment you belong? Yes, I don't know your name, but please, just, yes, you. Yeah. So how do you belong, you think? Which group you belong to? Innovators? Early? Okay, I'm not trying to get the answer, but I think the point is, yes, innovation?
Maybe like early adopters. I'm not sure.
Okay, depends on which phase the technology itself is, right? Right. So again, the point of this one is related to mindset. Yes, if there is something, if you are in this, then alhamdulillah, you will have more impact, right? That's the point, right? Or if you just miss the boat for that one, the visionary's boat is coming, right? The visionary, they will take the technology and make it useful for in agriculture, in commerce, in steel industry, in many, many things. Those are the visionaries. They can see it can be applied. It is applied, right? So don't miss that boat. I think the AI ML boat is there. And for quantum computing, we are still there actually, because they are still trying to figure out how to leverage the technology, right? And if you follow the quantum computing market, see that somebody comes up with something and then they start, oh, this is not a stock thing. Okay. So my point is, just get familiar with the technology and see where you can fit. And do you have, we are talking about technology, do you have to be a tech nerd to do that? Yes, it's very good. It is not, right? And we saw one of the aspects of today's emerging technology is it is decentralized. It is collaborating. So you just call up your friend living in thousands of miles. Maybe you are doing computer science and he or she is doing economics or language arts or something, right? You can collaborate. This technology is such powerful. Everyone has a piece to the pie. Really it is. So it is democratized. Today's technologies are democratized, right? So you have to find what is your competitive advantage. This is marketing word. And you, whether you are an arts student, science, commerce, you have a competitive advantage that you can use to leverage the technology to come up with something. It is really that powerful. This technology are like that. It was not true 150 years back. Okay. So find your niche, whatever you are good at, enhance it with technology. I think that's my suggestion. That's my pitch. Okay. And everyone can be a part of the play. Okay, I just give you an example of AI in education. I'm going towards now symbiotic relationship, right? That one will enhance other. So, this is basically, yeah, AI, I use ChatGPT, I use this and data, and I do my homework. Yeah, nothing wrong. I mean, but there are issues, right? There are concerns with the parents, with the teachers, with the administrators, with the government, that we are producing cheater nation, right? Which has some validity in it, right? The Khan Academy founder, he came up with he wrote a book, I think 2 years back or a year and a half back. If you get a chance to read that, so he addressed this problem very well. So summary is so there are ethical concerns, right? But there is productivity. It is helping me. I can come up with quick answer, right? We have to combine those two. This is the example of symbiotic relationship, right? So in this case, it is like I want AI tool to write. I don't want AI tool to write an essay for me. I want AI tool to write an essay with me, right? For and with. So that is the symbiotic relationship, right? So I'll give a prompt. You already learned prompt engineering. And then if you give me something, then I will nourish, I will enhance. I have to use my akal. That's the point. Okay. And that way we can make better use of it. So that is the symbiotic relationship. Yes. I use the technology. I use my thought to find out what is the best way to leverage what this thing has to offer. Right? And then I get some help from the tool. And then I enhance it. So one is enhancing other. That is the symbiotic relationship between the flower and the butterfly, right? You know that. That's the cycle of the ecosystem. So again, I think the bottom line of what I have been talking last few minutes is, and we'll see that that is actually part of the fifth industrial revolution. The interaction human-machine. So we use artificial intelligence assistant, but we have to use the wisdom, experience, faith, and compassion of real intelligence being that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. It has to combine, it has to work together, right? Okay, so I have any questions so far? Okay. So this is the take-home message, I call it. It is such a thing. Tafakkar, tazakkar, tadabbar, the reflection, thinking, reminding that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has reminded us in Quran. You have to have that. Okay, the technology is there, just use it. No, before you jump on using it, think about it. What is the best way for that symbiotic relationship, right? And apply your iPad. Have the good intention, have a good plan, act on it, and make dua. End of it, right? So that it has to start with think, and then explore, educate yourself. And this is the thing, that it is a technology, it is available, accessible. You just have to go find. Again, I just gave 2 examples related to AI, ML, but for everything today, it is true. Resources available, you just have to explore. You just have to educate yourself, right? The third is collaborate. That's what you are doing today. All those, the hackathons, collaborate across discipline. It is important. Again, you have seen the today's technology has can be manifested in many different ways. So people from many different measures, if they combine, they can come up with a beautiful thing. Okay, so that's why this collaboration is important. And lastly, I believe that is why the Muslim youth are uniquely situated. Everybody talks about challenges, but because of the market pressure, because of the profit motive, it is not going anywhere. Please stop that. Those challenges need to be addressed. You have to help mitigate the challenges of emerging technology. You as Muslim youth has the best chance. And not only chance, you have the responsibility, you will be accountable. You have the accountability also. So help the community of emerging technology. So that is my tech pitch, TECH. You have to really have that mindset. So what do you have? Well, which problem you want to solve? I think that will be the topic of what you are going through inshallah next 2 years, a few hours, right? Yeah. Any person? Yeah. So that is again the take home message is this: tech, please think, explore, collaborate across measures, collaborate across the boundary of nations, and then help the platform, help the world, help the community, help the profit takers, or help the corporate world to make it in good use. Okay, sure. Okay, Jazakallah khair. If there is no question, I think we can. Okay, thank you.
So it is almost Dhuhr time. So inshallah, you guys can come over to the masjid, and then the lunch is on the table right there. Just want to grab it and leave it, because I think Dhuhr Qama is at 1:30. The lunch is outside. And for the girl.
This is something that we have to think about this, right? I read this is plus sign, which means they get things like this is right here. Yeah, I was gonna do that. Just thinking, I was thinking thought. You're healthy. I've never done it. I can make an exact copy of this on here. Yeah, I can just, you're designing it pretty much, and I get the design. I'm gonna stay up here.
Is that cool?
Yeah, because the thing is, I don't wanna really leave the area. But I'm probably gonna pray up here.
Lastly, but lastly, I think that's all of you out from like the business thing there. Very special. I like this part.
Salam, the other one, and make sure it is cleaned up.
Okay.
Problem, you can come.
What, do you know what time it is? 1:28. I'll be back.
Everyone got luncheon? If you got the lunch. If you all got the lunch.
Where everybody go?
Okay, go to Salah this way. Go straight. Salah this way, Salah. Okay. Yeah. I think we can. Yeah. Bro, everyone else like Zohar. Again, there. So, I had the first row and like everyone else was like in the second. Yeah, I'm gonna make the changes. Yeah. Okay, so how, tell me about like what there needs to be done on the website. Wait, the first of all, like. Authentication pretty much almost done. Then we also have to figure out I prayed.
I know, actually, I will let.
I ran past you.
I'm gonna go get ketchup. I didn't know.
You took the screen when I finished, I could do it before I did it. How fast did you run?
It's not even that far. I was very fast.
Just like. How was this, right?
48 hours. It's not like paper stuff. Why are these suggestions? Why are these suggestions?
Obviously, there's this.
Say.
Sorry.
Come on, how about?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you already eat, Tom?
Yeah, for the cake.
Is this Z-Burger?
I have no. This is what I'm trying. I'm trying.
Oh, it is. Like it's really. Like, this is really from baby. Oh, this got bars on something going. It was a case. We're talking about how we're gonna use our hacking skills. Hack the Iron Dome. But I keep saw. Yeah.
So, like the border from the US.
It's worth it, 100% worth it.
It's a birthday.
I'll probably can get deported for less reasons, you know?
Yeah, but we're getting that grandma.
No,
Yeah.
everybody had lunch?
Eating right now.
You.
Just like, but it's been building it. What's the piece?